Kelsey at the movies!
Yay!
And this time, it's personal.
What does that mean?
Well, because it was about adoption.
Okay.
Hey, we went and saw Instant Family, starring Mark Wahlberg.
And Rose Byrne. What'd you think about the movie?
I thought it was a really fun, well-made, good movie. At the end of the movie, I told you that I thought it was the best commercial that could ever be made for adoption.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mean that in a facetious way. I thought, like, yeah, that seemed like the movie's intent.
Yeah.
And it was very good at what it did. Like, I was really happy with the movie.
It was a really honest look inside that whole process while also making it like an enjoyable like movie-going experience for the audience. So like you could have told any number of stories about adoption and it wouldn't really, they would be true, but they wouldn't make like maybe for the best movie. But I thought the movie maker did a really great job just honestly displaying like this is adoption, like especially like within like the American foster care system. So like that's what this dealt with specifically. So I guess I just thought it was really that the movie was able to balance like having a movie that's enjoyable for the audience and also honestly portraying something. They didn't villainize people. They didn't overly dramatize things. I just thought it was really honest. Go, wait, or skip. What do you say?
I say go see this movie.
Yeah.
I really like this movie because we have so many love stories that are in movies, but usually that love story involves a man and a woman, and this was a love story about a family and children, and I really like that.
Yeah. So for me too, I definitely say go see this movie because it's not just a sappy movie that's going to tug on your heartstrings. But it will. It was, but in a real, like it had real moments.
Genuine and authentic.
Yeah, like between the family and the kids and the extended family and the people they knew. I thought it was all like really real and honest. So yeah, I definitely say go see this movie.
So we'll get into some spoilers. Spoilers!
Talk more detail about the movie.
Detailed spoilers! At the end of this movie, all I could think was, I want Mark Wahlberg and that lady to adopt me. You know, like, I really liked the portrayal of those two people. They weren't perfect, of course. You know, remember when he was like comparing children to dogs? And that's like a normal thing people do. Like, so it's just funny. There was a lot of true things in how they display people. But I liked how the two people, they went through all the emotions. You know, like it's very difficult if you adopt out of the system. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of, when kids come from some horrible thing like that, where the government has to come in and take them from their homes, they're going to have they've experienced a lot of trauma. There's going to be a lot of things that come with that. It showed, like, in that case, this family really wanted kids, and, like, they adopted kids. They really wanted to adopt children, but then they were like, well, we could just put them back. You know, remember when they had that? Because it got really, really hard. Yeah, and so you have, like, that... a real, normal thing. And they even were like, and then people will feel sorry for us. We can just tell people that it didn't work out, you know? Yeah. So I really liked that a lot. I thought the kids, all three of them, were great, and each played a different kind of role. Yeah. And especially the featured kid, which I guess is the older kid, was just a really special young actress. I thought she did a great job in portraying that character that she was. And then also was just a special role in the movie. I really loved seeing this movie. So for me, like I said at the beginning, like how honest and genuine it was throughout the movie. So they make like this decision that they're going to adopt, and then they go to like the adoption classes, and you see all the different kinds of people there. And they did a good job showing that there's people that adopt for all various kinds of reasons. And a lot of these people come in with like these ideas of why they're going to adopt. So I thought for sure the overtly Christian couple they showed, you know, we're just here because God put it on our heart and we just want to open up our hearts and our homes. And I was like, oh, they're going to make fun of this. But like they didn't villainize that. They even had Blindside lady. Yeah, the woman who was reenacting like the story of the Blind Side and wanted to adopt athletic black male. But they didn't villainize her either. Then you had the interactions with like their extended family they were very honest with like, what the hell are you guys doing? We think this is super stupid, and we're gonna like
adopt kids who've like been living like in drug dens, and like they didn't want like their adopted kids around their kids. I guess they express like all of that. She even like gets all upset about it because I think it's Thanksgiving or something, but like they're all still family. They didn't villainize those people either.
Right.
So like you might think, oh, the sister and her husband who were like, I don't want your kids around my kids. That you might think later on like they're going to be like demonized throughout the movie, but they weren't. Instead, I felt like the movie maker did a good job of portraying those people as real people.
Yeah.
And like that's the most important thing, is to just be who you are, because you can try to pretend that you're a saint who's like, I open up my heart and I don't judge anybody, but if that's not reality, then you're hurting yourself, and it's actually more poisonous than if you've just been honest. It showed the growth with those people too, right? Like they got to see firsthand how all this worked, and then realized they had made a lot of assumptions about the whole thing that were untrue. I mean, they just did a good job. I mean, they met the biological mother, and the adoptive mother had made up stories about her and made up assumptions. And when she met her, she was like, she seems normal. And that's because people who make mistakes or deal with addiction, they're people. They're not like whatever they've been labeled in the whole thing. Like they're a real human being who does
actual human beings.
Does all kinds of different things, right, and
Right.
makes all kinds of choices. And the movie just like over and over again.
It's like, that's why I call it's a love story, really.
Yeah.
But when we say love in our culture, we typically mean romantic love between a man and a woman. But love encompasses all, and love is more than that and bigger than that. And this was just a really great love story, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything about this movie that I didn't like, really. I can't find anything negative to say about it. Even overtly positive, you and I talk a lot about propaganda movies, right?
Yeah,
Movies with an intention of changing someone else, of giving someone else a view that they desire them to have. And a lot of movie makers do this. But most movie makers do not openly do that. They don't do that in a way that's like, here's what I believe, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. In this movie, even with a good concept that I think we can all get behind, is that adoption of children, especially children in need, it was still very open, like, hey, go to instantfamily.org or whatever and look at adoptions in your area. Like, it was on the up and up, just a great film.
So the behind the scenes is that the director and writer of the movie, this was his story.
You can tell it's his passion project too. Like, it was really, I think you said some of the other films that he had done.
Oh, so he's also the director and screenwriter for Horrible Bosses 2. I think it was Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either. So this was his story. He went through it. His story was a little bit different, and in real life. So he had their first adoption fell through and didn't work out, and they ended up adopting different kids. But for the sake of the movie and getting your point across, this was involved a single group of kids. I went to see this movie because I had recently decided in my life I have always avoided anything that is sappy or going to make me cry or just like that kind of stuff. Like I just avoided it. But then I decided, I was like, I think that maybe it's good to see stuff like that sometimes because it can stir up our emotions. And it's okay to do that every once in a while. If you're doing that all the time to meet some kind of need, then that would probably be problematic. It would be problematic for me if I did that all the time. But what I was doing was the opposite, and I was like avoiding it at all costs. And I also scoffed. Like I thought I was better than like these
It's a defense mechanism, probably.
Yeah. Like, I was like, I don't see this stupid stuff, like, whatever. But I was like, I think I'm wrong.
Well, and you're in a better place now, just personally, to where you have skills now, and you use one of those skills after this movie. If you don't know, Rachel and I do not have children, and we've wanted to conceive, and it's been a long, difficult thing. And we even went through the process to adopt, and it didn't work out because it just wasn't. We wanted to adopt, but basically the state didn't have time for us. So what we're saying is that it wasn't God's plan. And that's been really hard for us to go through our lives like that. So to see a movie like this, instant family, we want an instant family, right? We've always wanted that, but we've never received that. We've gone through all these steps that we have to go through to do these things. So this is not the movie that if you're looking to avoid and I'm looking to avoid. I even was like, we're not going to see the movie. But then we went and saw the movie.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just get to the skill that you learned, the stress tolerance skill or to experience your emotions. We went, not only did you go see the movie, but then you took care of yourself after the movie, right? You discovered recently something, so tell people just a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been going to a group, a process group for like over a year now, and it's in Houston. So when I drive back from that, it's like a little over 30 minutes at night. And what I learned is like I really enjoy that time by myself, listening to music, driving in my car. And that when I do that, it's if I have a lot of emotion at that time, and sometimes I do when I leave process group, it helps me to process some of my emotions, like to experience them. So when we got home from this movie, like Kelsey came inside and I said, I think I'm going to, because I realized I was like, oh, I can drive around anytime I want to.
I've got a car.
I have a car and I'm an adult and I can do that. So I was like, hey, Kelsey, I have like a lot of feelings, and I knew if I came inside the house, I'd watch TV, get on my phone. I would do whatever I wanted to do, but when I'm driving, I can't do those things. And so that's what I did. I went and I just drove around. Instead of leaning into self-pity, which is one of my unhealthy behaviors that I do, I was talking to God because I was like, I think this is unfair. We weren't able to do that like when we wanted to. But what I realized is that I can love children that are difficult or have been traumatized.
It comes naturally to you.
It comes naturally to me.
That's why she married me.
God gifted me with that, and it comes naturally to me, so I can't really be, oh, look how great I am, you should have given me this because of that. Like, it just comes naturally to me. And on top of that, God wanted me to be able to love everybody the way that I can love kids. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like the past several years of my life have been a journey showing me how to love everybody.
Yeah. Well, and
maybe if God would have just given me what I wanted, like I would have continued to love kids, but still been just as hard on like adults and people in my life and judgmental and all that.
Yeah.
And
so it allowed you a space to grow.
Yeah.
I feel like lately, after we saw the movie, I've given it thought, and I've been like, kind of, I can be the same way. Like, that's not fair. You give kids to these people or these people. One thing I thought about recently was, oh gosh, man, I've grown so much, especially in the last couple years. And I know that I didn't know how to do this, but I didn't want to continue the dysfunction that I come from. And I didn't know how to do that then.
And also just being grateful for what God's plan is for us. So God's plan could have been for us to learn all this while we had kids.
Yeah.
Or it can be like what it has been, which is for us like not to have kids. And so it's best whatever God wants.
Yeah, that God knows best. And we sometimes think we know best, but we don't. That being said, great movie. You should go see it. You should go see it instantly with your family. And that way, we're all an instant family. So, Rachel, should people adopt this movie or leave it in the system?
What the? I don't like that.
Why?
No.
No?